Late last month, Canadians across the country started signing a petition calling for Elon Musk's Canadian citizenship to be revoked. They're angry that he's been supporting President Donald Trump and his call for Canada to be the 51st state. In response to a post on X about that petition, Musk wrote, quote, "Canada is not a real country." Also, a few weeks back, when then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau posted that Canada would never be part of the United States, Musk replied, "Girl, you're not the governor of Canada anymore, so it doesn't matter what you say." While Elon Musk's ties to Canada may be a bit strained right now, his roots here in Saskatchewan actually go down quite deep. So this is kind of a crazy story. It surrounds this man, Joshua Haldeman. This is Elon Musk's grandpa, his mom's father. Just like Musk, his grandpa was very involved in politics throughout his life. He even tangled with Canadian prime ministers, just like Musk. And he got into fights about Canadian sovereignty. Joshua Haldeman had his own conspiratorial views of the world, views that were shaped in the dirty 30s here in Saskatchewan. Let's go back almost a century, to the mid-1920s. That's when Joshua Haldeman began farming near Swift Current, Saskatchewan. It did not take long for things to go sideways. In 1929, the stock market crashed, kicking off the Great Depression. At the same time, a drought swept across the prairies, causing crops to fail and thousands of farmers to lose their land. Haldeman was one of them. He ended up blaming his loss on a global communist conspiracy that he believed controlled the banks, the media, universities, and healthcare. He thought that the conspiracy was pushing for the pasteurization of milk, the fluoridation of water, and mandatory vaccinations, which he believed were designed to weaken and control the population. Haldeman dedicated his life to fighting this perceived conspiracy. That drove him into the political world. First, he joined a socialist movement that was calling for the eradication of capitalism. A couple years later, he shifted to another movement called Technocracy, Inc. That group wanted to eliminate political parties and politicians and have a government run by engineers and scientists. He was a true believer. At one point, he was even arrested for his support of this movement. But then Haldeman abandoned technocracy because he believed it had taken a dark turn. In 1940, technocracy argued that the United States should take over Canada and Greenland by purchase, negotiation, or force of arms. It wanted to create a powerful new entity called the Technate, its vision for a strong and isolated American continent. In an article in a Canadian magazine, Haldeman called technocracy a scientific Frankenstein, and he warned it was conspiring against the British Empire and against the sovereignty of Canada. So Haldeman moved on to another political movement, social credit. This party was promoting lower taxes, fewer regulations, and Christian social values. In a newspaper, Haldeman argued the trouble with politics is that Christianity has been left out. Haldeman became the leader of Saskatchewan's Social Credit Party. He ran for premier against Tommy Douglas, who's famous for establishing Canadian Medicare. Haldeman also ran in federal campaigns against two Canadian prime ministers, William Lyon Mackenzie King and John Diefenbaker. In 1950, he left Canada and took his family of 5 to South Africa. There, he wrote a book supporting the country's racial segregation system, known as apartheid. In an article he wrote for the Regina Leader-Post, he said South Africa's black population, quote, is very primitive and must not be taken seriously, adding, quote, it takes 3 natives to do the work of 1 white man, and, quote, they cannot assume responsibility and will abuse authority. Haldeman promoted his views in books he published while in South Africa late into his life. He died in a plane crash when Elon Musk was just 3 years old.